it going, folks? Welcome back to Local Living ATX, brought to you by the Big Man in Real Estate team, and of course, Willow Bend Mortgage, the Robert Milliken team. Today we want to talk about, you see it down at the bottom there, it says, Robert says call your lender first. Which Robert? Who cares? The point is it drives Robert and I. Robert and I have worked together for a very long time, much to his dismay. But it's always surprised us that in the real estate industry that I get the phone call, right? That people, I want to sell, I want to buy, whatever. I, as a real estate agent, get the phone call. They call me up, They call the big man and say, hey, I want to sell my house, or I want to buy a house, or whatever. And I'm like, and the first question out of my mouth is always,
do you have money?
Do you
have money to buy it?
Do you have money?
Yeah.
Because if you have no money, you get no house, right? You get no car, you get no whatever. So look, money makes the world go round in a world of consumerism, right? Sure. Okay, if you want to buy a house, you got to give something in return for it. In our case, it's a mortgage, it's money. So why people call me, which look, I appreciate, keep calling me, but my first question is, have you talked to a lender? And if they haven't, that's what has to happen first, folks. Yeah. You gotta talk. If you don't know if you can, unless you have cash, and you know if you have the cash to buy a home or not, if you don't know if you qualify for a mortgage or the mortgage that you want.
Right.
Look, if the house that you want is $500,000, but the mortgage you can get is $300,000,
right,
you're only buying a $300,000 house, folks.
Right.
So it's always surprised us that people don't call lenders first, right? That it typically I'm the one referring to him, right, in his industry versus the other way around.
Sure.
And I think, to me, honestly, and look, take this, if you get anything out of this video, I want you to get out that I believe in money first real estate. I don't help people sell houses that don't know what they're doing next and making sure that they can do what they want to do next.
Right.
Now, I know I'm the rarity in my industry for saying that, but it's the truth. The first conversation, if you are listing your house for sale, before we talk about, meaning you and I, before we talk about what you're doing next, or I'm sorry, before selling your house, we talk about what you're doing next. I have to make sure from a standpoint of real estate that you can do what you want to do next before we sell the home you're living in.
Sure. I think when you go to buy a house, I mean, the old adage is the biggest investment most of us will ever make, right?
Sure.
It is an investment, right? And I think just doing your due diligence, you need to understand how that investment fits in with any of your other investments, whether that may be a 401k through your work or any other type of account that you may have. It is an investment. You know, the goal, while sheltering you certainly want it to keep the rain and the cold away from you, but you also want it to help you make a little money and create wealth for your family.
Absolutely.
Right? And if you're not having those conversations before you go out, see a house, become emotionally attached to it, only to find out for one reason or another you can't get that house, it's a backward. You're going about the process backwards, right?
Well, it sounds crazy, but I've had people call me that have had agents help them sell their home, and now they have no place to go. They couldn't do what they thought they could do on the next. They just didn't think that step ahead. And you've got to, again, like you said, an investment. Money is not something that most of us are taught at a young age.
Sure.
It's not something we're taught in high school or college or whatever else. And we could talk all day about how wrong that is. But the fact is you don't know what you don't know. And unless you have somebody to guide you through that process properly, you get taken advantage of.
Sure.
Right? And doing what I call money first real estate, doing it in this way and making sure you can purchase the home you want or purchase the home you want on the other side has to be the starting point. Otherwise, everything else doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the first thing that any consumer looking to buy a house should look for is, who am I working with that's actually going to educate me about the process?
Absolutely.
Whether that's the lender, whether that's the realtor, we all need to learn about what it is we're doing, right? If I want to go buy a car, right, I hope I don't just walk on a lot and say, give me that blue one.
No, we live in a world of click the terms and conditions.
Yeah.
Who's read? Has anybody read the terms and conditions on anything that we sign up for? Yeah.
I mean, I hope I'm not buying a lemon, right? I hope I've looked into it enough to know that I'm going to buy a car that's going to actually run, that gets me from point A to point B.
Why are you asking for so much?
I know, it's crazy. So
people are wanting to buy a house. They don't care how the sausage is made.
Does it have 4 walls and a roof? Yeah. No,
I love that expression though. That
right.
Nobody cares how the sausage is
Nobody
made.
cares how I just want the bite. That's right.
Right.
So you need to take that time, and I think there's this misconception that it's super time consuming, and it's not. I mean, for me, when I work with clients, we're pretty deep into that conversation within about an hour. And what I mean is that includes getting an application, asking a few questions, and then within that first 45 minutes to an hour, I have a pretty good idea of kind of what they're trying to achieve. And if I'm not asking that question, then I'm not providing the service to them that they need to have. I need to understand what the goals are for the house. How long are you going to be in the house? Tell me about your family. Are you going to have kids that may take you into another school district? Anything like that, I need to understand that, right?
Kids make it much more difficult to buy a house.
Sure, is this are you going to move and keep it as a rental? I mean, there's all kinds of things that need to be asked.
I'm just talking about 3 kids are expensive like I have, and that prevents me from buying a much larger house than.
Yes, that's true. Which is why you're out here.
That's why I live in Cedar Park.
So you need to be having those conversations, and if you're not, with previous lenders you've worked with, you should consider trying to find somebody else. Because I believe it's not my job so much to get you the mortgage. It is, but it's my job to educate you about what types of mortgage products fit what you're looking to do with your family.
Absolutely.
And your investments.
That's always a conversation you and I have had with clients before, even with clients, honestly, that can buy their home cash. We've had those clients that it made more sense after speaking with them to get a mortgage on their home, or at least a percentage of their home, and keep some of the cash, right?
Yeah.
Especially for older folks that, look, things happen. Well, things happen to us all, no matter of age, but there may be a situation that even if you can buy that house cash, and when we're talking about interest rates that are below 5%, right, and stuff like that, there's a whole money thought process out there about leveraging other people's money that makes a lot of sense, right? But again, it starts with the conversation, right? We are helping a client right now that Robert is helping her seeing if she can buy a home. She came to me a couple of days ago and says, hey, we were thinking about buying a home, but we don't know if we can. And it started out from a conversation of she was discouraged from the get-go. She was discouraged from the fact that she didn't know she could buy a home. She was embarrassed to ask the question, and I'm thankful that she did, and we're looking at if she can, but you don't know unless you ask that question.
Yeah, there's nothing at all wrong. There's really no downside to going through the process and getting the information. There's no cost. And that's my job, is to get information from you that in turn allows me to give information back to you so that you can make a decision on what's right for you and your family. There is no downside to doing that. There's no downside to having that knowledge.
The conversation, absolutely.
And then, ultimately, anybody that does what we do needs to be able to say, whatever you decide is best for your family, we'll support that, right? We're good with that. We're here to provide service, information to you, and if you decide you need that services, we're here to then help you, manage and facilitate that transaction to the end so that you can get into the house that you want. But if you decide that's not what you need right now, God bless you.
One of the biggest hurdles I have to overcome, and I know you do as well, and I'm going to say this important, is people think that you and our industries are salespeople, right? And it's perpetuated by some people out there. I was reading an article yesterday about a bad situation, and it's because they think that our industry are salespeople. I am not a salesperson, folks. I show you the inventory that's out there, whether you buy this house or the next house. I want you to buy the best house for you, right? I don't sell. I've never sold a house in my career. I'm not a salesperson. I'm an advocate for making sure you get the best deal, that you get what you need. He is the same way. He doesn't sell mortgages. He gives you the availability of the products that are available to you and helps you make the right decision for your best interest. We both work in what's supposed to be fiduciary responsibility careers. And if you don't know that term, fiduciary means that your needs are more important than mine. Okay?
Our job is to work in your interest, not our own.
Absolutely.
That's
100%. Now, how everybody else runs their business, I don't know nor care, but that's how we run ours, and that's what I want to get across to you. That money first needs, the question about how am I going to buy the home needs to come before you go out and look at the home and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I think one thing to remember is, you'll see something on the news, or you'll see an article on Facebook, or some website that'll talk about the mortgage industry or the real estate industry or something along that lines. So these are the things you should do when doing this, right? And the bottom line is, it really is individual. You need to get with someone who can talk you through and work with you through the process to understand what you need.
Yes.
Not what some general column written by somebody somewhere across the country tells you need.
Absolutely.
These transactions are specific to you and your family. Okay? Are there some obvious things, in real estate that everyone should do, right? Don't put a Ferris wheel in your front yard. Don't do that. You shouldn't do that, right?
I wish you'd have told me that last week. I had
that.
The Ferris wheel guy come.
It was fun. I enjoyed it. I'm much better in your yard than mine. Don't do things like that. But, but in terms of location and in terms of the type of mortgage, those are things you need to sit down and have a conversation with someone who's knowledgeable in the area. And that's another thing I would say. With working with Robert lives here in Austin in Cedar Park, and he knows the area. He understands. It takes me 5 minutes to get to the grocery store. Here are the traffic patterns. You're not going to get that when you work with a realtor or a lender that's not local and not present.
Right. Absolutely.
They can't really give you the experience of living in the community or in the city that a local agent and lender would give you. So, you need to have those conversations. And if you're not, I just strongly encourage you to really reconsider how you're putting your plan into action, because it really is so important to talk to someone who understands that it's way more than just telling you, okay, here's a conventional loan, or here's an FHA loan, or you can do USDA, or you're a veteran and qualify for VA, or whatever it may be. It really goes way beyond that. It's about how to appropriately use the assets you have to obtain the goal you're trying to obtain, and how that goal then fits in with your broader set of goals.
Absolutely. I believe in knowledge, right? Now, if you're spending $5 on a cup of coffee, spend that $5 however you see fit and anyone else sees fit. Throw it down the garbage for all I care, if that's what you want to do with your $5. But when you're talking about $300,000, I think it's my humble opinion that you should have some knowledge about what you're spending that money on, what kind of investment it is, and where it is, and those kind of things that, quite honestly, I get asked rarely, less often than you would think.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's our opinion for what it's worth, good, bad, or otherwise. We appreciate you watching. Please subscribe. If you have any comments or questions about the lending process, about getting approved for a loan, whatever, comment down below. Reach out to us through instant messaging. All of our information is down below. We appreciate you. We'll see you next time.
Have a great weekend.